Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Thanks for watching, as always, on YouTube TV, listening on SiriusXM Channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our affiliates across the country. Coming up in this hour, Paul Stone on the program, bottom of the hour, professional sports bettor. He's going to preview two more college football conferences with the Pac-12 and the ACC. We'll get into the WNBA coming up in 15 minutes. Some gigantic totals again yet tonight. And we do have NFL, Pauly. Hall of Fame game is here. And as we speak, the Cardinals are a 1-point dog. So the 1.5s look like they're wiped out at most spots. And the total has been bet down from 36.5 down to 34 at most books. Dogs are 7-4 straight up, 8-2-1 ATS since 2013. I'm cherry picking here. Steve Mackinnon had a great write-up today at vsin.com with all these numbers. Favorites before that were on a 6-1-2 ATS run. 4 straight overs in this game.
It's surprising.
Totals somewhere low to mid-30s.
Yep. It's been bad for Carolina in the preseason going back, and as you pointed out, it was ugly last year as they went 0-3 and blown out in a couple of the games. But as I said earlier, I like what Joe Osborne's betting. If you like Carolina, first half, because it's going to be Kenny Pickett, a veteran who has played well in the preseason in his career, against Carson Beck, a rookie. Now, behind Beck is going to be Slovis, and then behind Pickett is going to be Haynes King from Georgia Tech. But I would think that's a good angle to look at. You throw out the second half and the nonsense, which could happen, but it's a veteran and a guy who's been in the NFL and won games against a guy making his first start, so Carolina first half. And
typically, Haynes King would be that kind of quarterback with his play that you want to back, I think, in the preseason because of how he plays the game. At Georgia Tech last year, he ran for almost 1,000 yards, and in 3 years, he ran around in the neighborhood of 2,300 yards. PCA with a shot. It's going to be maybe a double. No, he's going to cut it off as a single. So they have a runner on now against the Blue Jays. Bottom of the ninth, and nobody out. They trail 2-0. So that's kind of the guy that you want. However, again, this is with Canales and the horrible history that you just talked about. They've averaged less than 12 points per game in the last 3 years. But linebacker, Nick Scorton, tied for the team lead last year in sacks with 5, out for the year. Chris Brazzell, wide receiver, tore his LCL. Season's over with. Tight end Mitchell Evans carted off last week, ankle injury. When you go through that as a head coach, I think kind of in your mind, like, let's not get anybody. This is, Captain Obvious here. Every coach is going to be the same like this, but it's like, I don't want to even play in this game now all of a sudden. It can be demoralizing.
Sure. Yeah, and you have the new coaching situation in Arizona with LaFleur taking over. In the past 5 years, new head coaches are 61% ATS, including 8-3 last year, going back. Some people like to look at that angle, want to come in. Hey, positivity. Let's sell some tickets. We're turning this ship around. Come on, get on board. I want to win some games. And it doesn't always work, but again, that's a large sample size going back. That is 44-28 going back. So you have that angle with the new coach here against a guy who clearly hasn't cared, at least last year. And your good point about all the injuries.
Well, then based on all this for the last 3 minutes, aren't you going to be a little upset if you don't bet the Cardinals and it cashes tonight?
No, not a game like this. It's just you got unknowns playing, because it's also you get the 4 games as opposed to 3.
I saw a good tweet that have we ever had a quarterback throw the last pass of the college football season and the first pass of the NFL season? Carson Beck.
Not bad. Yeah.
I have no idea what to expect from him.
I don't either.
No clue.
Yes. All good points.
Okay.
Although I do think it's going to be a long year for Arizona.
I can't.
How about you start off on the wrong foot? McBride's got to walk back the comments he made about we don't have any fans.
Sure. Well, he's being honest. I mean,
yeah.
I would say that now that the draft is like 4 months old, whatever it is, I hated the pick on draft night.
I don't get
in the same division. Hated Tybe Simpson, 13th overall to the Rams. Jeremiah Love to the Cardinals. You learned nothing from the Raiders last year. Like, I think Ashton Genty could be the best running back in football.
Yeah.
And I expect him to have a much better year this year. They clearly were not in the position to take a running back that high last year because the offensive line was so bad.
Yes. Well, what's the plan? It's gonna be Love and Algier, and then what happens with Connor and Benson? Well, Connor, they think he comes back, and they want to get him some reps. You got 4 running backs. You had 3 because they already signed him, and then they drafted Love.
Sure. I want no part of Jeremiah Love as high as he's going right now in fantasy leagues, and clearly not going to bet him at plus 450 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Paul, they're telling you what the plan is kind of with the multi-running backs here, with the depth chart. And Algier's absolutely going to get a bunch of run, evidently, with the team.
Uh-huh. But to continue, I think it's going to be a long year. Look at that schedule.
I can't get over it.
They are plus 240 to get the last win and plus 250 to have the worst record in the NFL.
What's the play then?
I think I still think because you never know what's going to go on with Miami, and I think they were yelling at me at dinner. I was talking to all these Cleveland people. I think the Browns are going to have a long year. I still think it's under 4.5. But if you want to go out of all those under 4.5, but I would say the last team to get a win plus 240.
That's probably the look I would go with.
Because you get Miami and the Raiders week 1. Look at this thing. At the Chargers, Seattle at home, at San Francisco, at the Giants, Lions, Rams, Denver, Dallas, Seattle, Rams, Chiefs, Washington, Eagles. Come on. Then there's the bye week 14.
Sure. If this was flipped and they had their final 4 games as the first 4 games, well, then all bets are. I mean, this team could. Because then we're talking Jets at home, at the Saints, Raiders at home versus the 49ers. They might win 2 of those games.
Mm-hmm.
But that's in the distant. We're talking about late December now with those matchups.
And guess what? You bring in to start this year, you lost 14 of your last 15 games to end the season.
They were fun to watch, though, because the defense was so bad and the offense, they have a ton of playmakers. So they just like every game was going over last year.
That's right. They beat Dallas Monday night, November 3rd. And they didn't win. That was their only win. They didn't win another game. And then prior to that, they had lost 5 in a row. But the defense was a total sieve. Give up 31 to Indy, 44 to Seattle, 41 to San Francisco. That was at home. 27 to Jacksonville. And then you close the season allowing 45, 40, 26, 37, and 37
That's
points.
Right. Well, and by the way, look at how it sets up right away. Indoors, Chargers, week 1, Mike McDaniel, weapons on offense.
Very excited. Not as high as Chernoff, but
no.
excited for that and the 3 tight ends, what they're going to do.
That could be fireworks. I mean, my God, Paul, what's the total when they play the Lions in week 5?
Yeah.
Assuming health, Detroit team total over 27.5 for everything in the world right now in that game.
Yeah, you get the Miami Jets first meeting week 7. Talking about that prop last team to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
So because most people think Miami's going to be atrocious, and then what are the Jets going to do? So Miami at Las Vegas week 1, Miami at the Jets week 7.
Okay, set this up in college football. I have not listened to this yet. I'm going in fresh. I can only imagine how bad this is.
It's worse than you thought. So Purdue has a new AD, Tommy McClelland.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes in, you got to win a press conference, right? Everyone says they got to win. Well, come out, you got to get people excited. Like Cignetti did when he was awesome. Mm-hmm. I've never taken a back seat to anyone in my life. I'm not starting now. Purdue sucks. We're going right down the list, and he looks like a genius. So this is the press conference when he was introed today, talking about, what they're going to do at Purdue. But listen to what he says at the end.
Every recruit, every current student athlete will hear this message repeatedly. We are here to win championships. If you don't want to win championships, go to Indiana.
What?
It doesn't make any sense.
Did he? He's trying to be funny?
You're the laughingstock. They were, but they just won. They're 27-2 the last 2 seasons. They just won the whole thing.
Was it a shot at Indiana basketball?
And then people are already saying, well, he's going to run the score up. Well, it can't get any worse. They beat him 56-3 and 66-0 the last 2 meetings.
Oh, Cignetti could make it worse.
Oh, God.
What are they laying in that game this year?
Oh, my God. What a weird thing. You got to run this by somebody.
Uh-oh, I think we got a 2-run shot by the Cubbies.
Barlin blew it. Bregman tied it. Yep. Oh, boy. Bad beat alert.
2-run shot, 2
Bad
outs,
beat alert.
bottom of the ninth.
There were 2 outs?
Oh, yeah, 2. Yep.
Last
strike, yep.
Oh, my God.
Bregman, Varlin, his ERA, they just showed a graphic like he's got the 4th best ERA among relievers the entire year.
Meant to be. Maybe a team of destiny.
Yeah.
Come on. But it's like you got to run this by somebody, right? Why would you say it doesn't make any
How do you
sense?
take a shot like that? I mean,
Yeah.
you're trying to get cocky. They're the rival. I understand that.
Yeah, but they're the top of the mountain. You're not. You're at the bottom.
Right.
You're terrible.
You're right. Yeah.
You're trying to take a shot at your rival. They just won if you don't want to win the championships. Well, I can win a championship at Indiana. Maybe I win 4 games at Purdue.
You know, does he need to be in the time machine to go back 2 years before Signetti got there and make that comment? That timing would have been apropos. This is the absolute wrong time to say something like this. Okay, I don't understand it. Don't you think everybody in the university kind of like had the look on their face of what was that?
Yeah,
Did those
it's
words
almost
actually? Did I hear that correctly?
nervous laughter. They haven't won a national championship in any sport since women's golf in 2010.
How's it been for the men's basketball team? Are they stockpiling national championships there?
They had the run with Ed, and he lost in the title game.
Yeah, but they haven't won one.
Sure, right, yeah.
If you're gonna talk trash like that, you got to have something to back it up.
That's true. The future of Purdue athletics is incredibly bright. I'm ready to get to work. There's a lot of work to be done. I got to see what Signetti says.
Oh,
when he responds.
Yeah, trust me, he's going to have a better comeback than that guy with that statement for sure. I wonder what the Cubs were down to the final strike to win that game against a closer who has been elite the entire year.
20-1?
Probably off
Something
the board.
like that. Yep.
You might be
That's a
right.
killer.
To take a piece of them, the number keeps going down every single day.
Brewers won, though.
Yeah, and I'm talking about to win the NL or
yeah.
whole thing. Tonight's NBA card is up next. The market has adjusted totals after super high-scoring games and unders hit at a 3-1 clip last night. Does the same thing happen with the games tonight? We'll discuss next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, 3 games tonight on the WNBA card. Now, it's fitting that last night's games did go under to the tune of 3-1 overall. The numbers obviously did adjust. That the Dallas game blew up.
Yes.
And that was both teams were in the 90s last night, so that game went flying over the total.
Wow, the Chicago game, it was inexcusable.
Yeah.
Chicago had a 13-point quarter, and they still scored 95 points, and it stayed under by, I think, 4 points. That just shows you how bad Los Angeles is defensively. And good win for Chicago as they're playing a lot better ball, as we talked about. But you're right. These totals are inflated now because of the insane run,
right.
The 25-8 run coming into last night that you get a bad 2-minute stretch. That's all she wrote. So this one, highest total in WNBA history, opened 195. The Aces in the Fever. It came down to as low as 191 before the show, back up to 192. The Shoe writes today at vsin.com, the last 6 Fever games have averaged 210 points.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they are playing at this breakneck pace. Every game's been flying over. And by the way, they're favored again now. So we've had a flip of favorites for the second time.
They are 2-0 against them.
Remember, Mike Palm said on the show yesterday, he absolutely loves the Aces tonight. The Fever open as the favorite. The Aces turned into the favorite earlier today, and now the Fever are 1.5-point favorite here.
Shoemaker makes the total 199.
Well, so they have played so far twice this year. The first time Indiana they defeated them both times. The first time was 84-68. That was on July 5th. Total was 180.5. Then they played a week later. The Fever, they were catching 5.5 out here in Las Vegas. They blew them out 109-75. Total was 181.5.
Oh,
I was supposed to go to that game.
Wow.
It was over within the first half.
How about Caitlin Clark, PRA? She's been on fire.
She's been great lately. So is Kelsey Mitchell.
That's a problem. Because there's so many gals that can score. And how great they've been with number 1 offensive team in the league. But you can just look at points and rebounds then for her too, if you're not comfortable with the points. But she's been phenomenal and a great run. What did I read the other day? She's got the 3rd most triple-doubles in history already? I think I read that.
That probably makes sense, though,
come
right?
on.
Yeah. Who was compiling those, 20 years ago? I will also point this out, and you broke this down yesterday with how high scoring some of the games have been in the first quarter and the first half. So against Minnesota, it was 36-33 in the first quarter, 64-53 at halftime. The Fever scored 27 points in the first quarter against Portland and had 56 points at halftime. Against Seattle, they had 37 in the first quarter, 58 at half. Against Connecticut, they had 36 in the first quarter, 70 at halftime. The game against New York was low scoring in the first half, but they exploded for 63 points in the second half. Both teams tonight have a team total in the first half at 47.5. Both teams have a team total of 24.5 in the first quarter. Don't we think that the way that they play basketball, the Fever, that 47.5, their team total in the first, or maybe both would be worth a look? Both teams have the total over, or maybe just play the first half over as well. They are getting off to extremely fast starts here lately, like last 5 games. That is something that I have considered today for sure.
Sure.
The total on the screen right now is as low as is 192.5.
Yeah.
And there's check that. There's a 192 out there now.
Yeah.
I also see a 193.5 the way it looks.
It takes a lot to get there. I know they've been flying over, but again, if you watched all those games last night, it takes a lot to get there. These are huge totals. So these gals are deadly from three, and a lot of them are playing up tempo. But like that Chicago game got to 199 in play right away because it was I think they had 35 points in the first quarter. Then you just have a bad 3-minute stretch and forget about it. You got to feel bad for the Sparks tonight. They're on a back-to-back against Minnesota, who's won 10 in a row. They're at home laying 16.5. Their team total is 102. Oh.
Wow, look at this number that they're laying. Up to 16.5 now. Up to 16.5. Sparks all over the map with their totals. 4 and 2 under last 6. But 4 straight overs before that and 8 of 9 overall, going back even more. Yeah. Horrible spot for him, like you said. Minnesota, they recently played 8 straight overs and 10 of 12 overall.
2-0 against them. Average margin 98-85. So Minnesota get whatever they want. But again, it's like New York against Seattle. Concern here would be a blowout maybe, and then it dies, and the backups are playing in the fourth quarter.
Look at the adjustments, man. I'd love to play the team total somewhere over in the 90s. 102 in the game?
Yeah.
I'm not going to – they're stayaways for me, quite frankly.
Mm-hmm. This one I think I can talk you on the over. Toronto and Portland. This one opened 186.5 up to 188.5. Portland's a small home favorite. The last 5 games averaging 200 points, and they beat Toronto 99-80 in the earlier meeting. Maybe you can look at the side there, too.
Screen has showing FanDuel a 168.5 right now. I'm sorry, 186.5 for the total in this game. That's the low water mark that I'm seeing. Yeah, 5 straight overs for the Fire, 7 of 8. The totals are up 10 points or more from 3 games ago.
Oh, man.
That's how big we're talking about here with adjustments.
Yeah. And you pointed out what Washington did yesterday, and that was the only over. Well, they play Phoenix tomorrow. And you see what Phoenix is like now, a new addition with getting Plum, how high scoring their games could be. And that total comes out low tomorrow. I'm surprised by that. Oh, no, wrong team. Phoenix and Connecticut. Phoenix plays Connecticut. I'm thinking of Washington. Washington plays Atlanta. And Atlanta can score. And I'm not sure Atlanta should be laying that much on the road because the Mystics are 17-12. That's another one where I think Atlanta's just going to play at that breakneck pace. And Washington will say, okay, we'll play with you too. We'll run with you. Mm-hmm. And that's 170. And then Dallas plays Golden State, which Golden State's a great team. They had that long winning streak came to an end with that bizarre loss, but defensive-minded. But they've played, I think, 4 straight overs now too. So I can't play an under here against Dallas coming up tomorrow night as well.
So overall, you think you're going to land on Toronto and Portland tonight?
Yeah.
That's the game?
Yes. And you do the other ones. And who knows? It might look foolish in the first game. Maybe it's going to be 110 to 105.
Yeah, no,
based on what Indiana's done here the last 6 games and how great they've been offensively. But I think you can do stuff in play, do a little feel out, check it out, do first quarter if you want. But you got to be concerned now because of this sick run. It's got to end at some point. And maybe it started last night because all these games you can't win every day for a month. And every game goes over in a 25-8 run, and Now you're ballooning these totals up 7-8 points.
Well, like I said, there's one team tonight. 3 games ago, you go back and look, the totals were in the low 170s, now it's 187. That's a crazy adjustment. And there's a wild pitch by the Blue Jays now in the bottom of the 10th, tied at 2 apiece here with 1 out. Now the Cubbies have runners on second. They're going to win this game. Asia Wilson is now beefed up to a minus $5 favorite to win the MVP. Olivia Miles is 7-1. Clark at 14, Becker's 20, and then Kelsey Mitchell 100. So beyond that, forget about it.
What if Dallas doesn't blow it? What if Dallas selected Miles like they should have? Then what happens?
Well, then the whole league is different then.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's going. Think about this. All you need to know is that we're having a discussion on a weekly basis about whether or not she can actually win this award, and she's a rookie. And if you watch the games, she just jumps off the TV like, oh my God, she's one of the best players in the league.
Yep.
So, yeah, you take her off Minnesota. Minnesota's still going to be very good, but you add her to Dallas with Beckers and then Stewart. That's a
where's
fantastic team.
She had a Clark?
She's behind her now.
She is? Okay.
She's at 20.
Clark's PRA tonight's 35 minus 120 at DraftKings. She's been on a great run.
I can't. They have blown out the Aces both times they played this year. Blowing them out.
I want the Aces off a loss, though. No one's better.
I know.
They always respond after Becky gets into them. But here, they were coming off a nice win.
Yeah, they are. Also, the reason why Palm loves the Aces tonight, he said kind of a Malinsky special for the Fever, first game back home after a somewhat lengthy road trip.
Okay. Football season's here. Just like the players, you need your reps before week 1. The Sharps, as a free weekly league, lets you practice the same football plays you already study, props, sides, totals, combos. Everyone starts with 10,000 chips. Build your stack, climb the leaderboard, sharpen your reads. Enter at jointhesharps.com or scan the QR code on the screen. Code VSIN50 for a 50% deposit bonus up to $100. Jointhesharps.com. Promo code VSIN50. Struck out Swanson. So now 2 on, 2 out in the bottom of the 10th.
Okay.
They're going to walk this guy? First base is open.
I think that's what the plan is here, the way it looks.
Now you got to sweat the frickin' total if you had that.
Sure.
God, it's all in
I mean,
play.
if you just got to hope to God that, but you know, what was the total in the game? Because they walk the bases loaded here. He gives up a meatball. It's
don't say that.
6-2 final.
Don't say that.
Grand Salami takes care of business there.
The total's 5.5.
What was it pregame?
I'll have to look, but this is, if they get out of this, though, then it could be, chaos again and whiskey and revolver time.
Professional bettor Paul Stone on the program coming up next. He's going to preview 2 conferences today on the show in college football. We'll start ACC. What the hell do we do with this mess in North Carolina?
This is Follow the Money on VSIN.
College football talk here as we go out to the Progressive guest line. Longtime friend of the show, professional bettor Paul Stone joins the program now. And you can follow him on X at Paul Stone Sports. We're going to hit the Pac-12 coming up in about 15 minutes. We'll start ACC. Paul, good to talk to you as always. Thanks for the time. We appreciate that. Let's begin here. News today that came out after the mess last year in Chapel Hill for the Tar Heels. Belichick back for year number 2. Well, unfortunately, his son, Steve, is going to step away from the program for a little while on medical leave. Hope that he's obviously going to be okay and healthy and can maybe rejoin the team at some point. But they have a very low win total, around 4.5 this year. How bad are we talking about for the Tar Heels again this year?
Yeah, we've got they went 4-8 last year in Bill Belichick's first season as the head coach there at North Carolina. This year, we're seeing their total at 4.5. It's actually juiced to the over, so I'm seeing plus 105 on the under there at BetMGM. I made this line. Of course, they're going to make the house is going to make these lines regular season win totals on a half a win for obvious reasons, but I made it 4, slightly juiced to the over. So my number was pretty much in tune with the house's number. But, you just look at this team. First of all, we'll look on the field. And looking on the field, Mitch, there's just nothing really to suggest that this North Carolina team in year 2 under Belichick and company is any better than they were in year 1. We have a change at quarterback. Billy Edwards who's played at both Maryland, started games at both Maryland, and then a couple of games at Wisconsin as well. He is in at quarterback, replacing Gio Lopez. You look at the rest of the roster, there's just not, they've got a big time defensive lineman, but there's just not a whole lot of difference makers on this Tar Heel team. Off the field, I mean, the North Carolina football program is almost a joke. I won't get into any, gory details, but Bill Belichick's 25-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, she's a household name. I think most college football fans could tell you who Jordan Hudson is, but could they name 2 members of the North Carolina football team? So that kind of attests to where this program is. Also heard a recent report that Jordan Hudson is to be copied on football-related matters, emails and other communications. Whether that's true or not, just the fact that it's reported is bad enough, damning enough there. Then we had our GM, Michael Lombardi, placed on administrative leave a couple of weeks back, unknown whether he's going to return. And now just today, again, as you mentioned, defensive coordinator and the head coach's son, Steve Belichick, on medical leave indefinitely. Like you said, hope he's well and not facing serious medical issues. But, in my mind, just put a tent over Kenan Stadium. Call it what it is. It's a circus, an absolute circus. I can't see this team going 5-7. They're just last year they had the 33rd toughest schedule according to Phil Steele. This year the 13th toughest schedule, might be the toughest schedule in the ACC. Give me under 4.5 regular season wins plus 105 there at BetMGM.
Great case, my friend. Well done. Okay, so Clemson's supposed to be down. I respect the SMU program. We talked about the coaches poll yesterday, and we thought wasn't enough respect for Miami. How about Miami, $1.35 to win the league?
Saying I think I maybe said as much in some previous appearances this summer, Paulie, but a lot of people see a minus price or a real short plus price, and they just say, man, well, there's no value in that. And sometimes in my mind, that's where the value lies. You go to some of these mid-tier teams that are at 6-1 and 7-1, and they don't hardly have a chance in heck of winning it. But, this is kind of, to me, like the Big 12. Texas Tech just looks head and shoulders above everybody in the Big 12. And to me, Miami, even though they maybe have a little more depth of competition, kind of looks the same there in the ACC. Going back to last year, they lose to SMU there the first day of November. Looks like their playoff hopes are on life support. That's probably putting it mildly. But they're down the stretch, they post 4 impressive victories, didn't really beat anybody of note. Didn't seem like they were going to be in the playoff, but in the days leading up to the playoff committee's final decision, kind of started leaking out that maybe they had a shot, and indeed they got in. And once in the tournament, Miami made the most of it. Obviously won 3 games over 3 really good opponents: Texas A&M, Ohio State, and Ole Miss. Lost in that championship game to the national champion Indiana Hoosiers 27-21. But you guys watch that game. Could have gone either way. We could be speaking of them today as the defending national champion. And really looking at their roster, the main difference from this year to last year, first of all, are those defensive ends. Reuben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, both selected in the first round of this past April's NFL draft. And then also, certainly, you have to mention the quarterback position. Their one-year rental, Carson Beck, no longer, he's out of eligibility. And in steps Darian Mensah on his 3rd program in 3 years. Began his career at Tulane as an under-recruited guy, then spent last year at Duke, and then now at Miami this year. And a lot of people, especially insiders within that program, will tell you that Mensah is an improvement over Carson Beck. That remains to be seen, but certainly I don't think the position is down. You look at this lineup again, it is loaded. Running back Mark Fletcher, one of the best running backs in the entire college game. Malachi Toney, you talking about a Swiss Army knife, a jack of all trades. I know you love the statistic, Paulie, all-purpose yards. I've spent enough time with you to know how much you despise that statistic, but at the same time, I think it bears noting Malachi Toney, more than 1,600 all-purpose yards last year, 109 receptions. He probably won't get a ton of Heisman Trophy consideration regardless of how well he plays this year. It's just not a wide receivers award. despite what Devontae Smith did a couple of years back. But, man, Malachi Toney, one of the best players in all of college football, a true playmaker. They've got the NIL advantage over that conference. They've got that program rolling right now. They're going to be obviously a 7-point underdog at Notre Dame in that game, but they're going to be a 2-touchdown or more favorite by my numbers in at least 8 games. There's at Clemson on October 18th. Also, I should mention -7 in the game of the year markets. So I just think this is going to be, it's Miami's game to lose. I think they're going to, be tough to beat. I don't see them being beat. I like the Hurricanes. I think you said it was available actually at -135 to win the ACC title game at DraftKings, and I like Miami to win the ACC title.
Excellent. Good breakdown as well. How about a game of the year involving Miami as well, but you want to go against them?
Yeah, and I'm not trying to have it both ways, but, this is a game of the year there in November. Virginia Tech coming in. Currently, game of the year lines at DraftKings. Miami favored by 16.5 over Virginia Tech. Obviously, there's a lot of energy swirling around that Virginia Tech program with the hiring of former Penn State and Vanderbilt head coach James Franklin. They got a school record $75 million gift in early June, most of that earmarked for athletics. So there's financial energy around the program as well, which obviously is a big part of today's game. This is going to be the Hokies' 11th game of the year when they face off going to Miami. And I think that's important because the system and the players should be well acclimated to one another. I think they'll be better at the end of the year than they are at the beginning. Their quarterback's going to be Ethan Grunkemeyer. He's a guy who started 7 games after Franklin was fired early in the 2025 season. Grunkemeyer almost beat Indiana. They came one play from beating the Hoosiers, and then they did close with 4 straight victories in Grunkemeyer's final 4 starts of the season. You're going to have your money tied up in this game of the year since it is in late November for 3.5 months. So you have to ask yourself, am I getting a better number today than I can get the week of the game? And at 16.5, I'm kind of taking the tricky position here that I think it is more likely to dip 2.5, since 15 and 16 are dead numbers, more likely to dip 2.5 points to 14 points than it is to go up 0.5 point to 17. I think this has got 2 touchdowns all over it. I think 16.5 is a good number here. I like Virginia Tech plus 16.5 over Miami in games of the year.
And you think if you had to project like a positive outcome potentially, from the start of the season to the very end at Vatech, do you think it's something that we're going to be able to notice right away with Franklin taking over as the head coach?
As far as towards the end of the year?
Yeah. You can just tell like Franklin did a really good job in year 1.
Yeah, I think he's going to do a pretty good, job. There's nowhere to go but up. They just won 3 games last year, 3-9. They were 6-7 the year before. They've got some talent. They upgraded in the portal. They've got Copeland, a defensive tackle. He bench pressed over 500 pounds a couple of weeks ago, a program record. He's an NFL guy that they're salivating over. So they've got some players, and I just see a lot of enthusiasm again around the program. I think the Hokies are on the a trend upwards, and I think we'll be able to see some improvement from game 1 till the end of the season this year.
Very good. Hang tight. We'll get to the Pac-12 coming up next. By the way, PCA with a hit with nobody out, bottom of the 11th. Kelly was coming around 3rd. He was tagged out at home. They wanted to replay. I think he's out, though, isn't he?
Oh, he's out. They're not going to
dead to rights. Okay, yeah.
Dead to rights.
So there's 1 out now, and there's an intentional walk. So the Cubbies with the runners on 1st and 2nd. Tie ball game, bottom of the 11th. We'll get Paul Stone's best bets for the Pac-12 coming up next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Currently a pick'em for the National League MVP. My bet is in the next 10 minutes, hour, 15, whatever, by the end of the show, PCA is going to turn into a bigger favorite. He just won the game for him. So they had runners on 1st and 2nd, bottom of the 11th. He steals 3rd. Horrible throw by the catcher, comes home, wins the game. He is an elite base runner. He's the best defensive player in baseball, and his numbers are better than Ohtani at the plate. Almost better than Ohtani's at the plate.
That is a horrible job by the catcher.
Terrible
it's
job.
a left-handed hitter.
Yep.
Airmailed it in the outfield.
Cubbies win. Something in the air here with Chicago. Fly the W, buddy. Back to the progressive guest line. Professional bettor Paul Stone with us. He just broke down the ACC. If you missed it, you can always go back, get his best bets, and listen to the Follow the Money podcast. Okay, let's begin with the Pac-12 and a team that you like to win this thing outright. I know Matt Humans is hot and heavy on Fresno this year. Who do you like?
I like Boise, and again, the price is it doesn't just jump out at you. They're plus 166 to win the title game. You look at this Boise team, and I mean, they've got their quarterback back, Maddox Madsen. He was injured some of last year, but he has 25 career starts, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. They've got probably the top running back tandem, not only in the Pac-12, but perhaps in the entire group of six. And Dylan Riley and Sire Gaines, they combined for over 1,900 yards rushing last year, so a big-time 1-2 punch. Riley had 1,125 yards, averaged 5.8 yards per carry, and then Gaines 811 yards, 5 yards per carry. So they can run the football. They've got the top offensive line and defensive line, in my opinion, in this 8-team league. The offensive line returns 3 starters, and then their edge rusher, perhaps he will certainly be maybe the best player defensively in the Pac-12, but certainly a contender for Defensive Player of the Year. Jaden Virgin Morgan, 34 career starts, 31 tackles for loss, 16 sacks. He is a force on the edge. You look at this, their conference schedule and where they play games and so forth. They do have to travel to Fresno State, the second place pick in the preseason polls in this conference on Saturday, October 10th. But they get Texas State at home. They play Utah State at home. I think it's a favorable schedule. They get San Diego State tentatively scheduled at home on Saturday, November 21st. That's actually their 11th game. The schedule I'm looking at doesn't show the 12th game. I think that's actually at Utah State. They have a real unique scheduling dynamic that we'll talk about here soon. But I just look at them at plus 166. That implies if you're at plus 166 on the money line in a game, if they were to make the Pac-12 championship game and be plus 166, that would mean they were a 4 or 4.5 point underdog around that area. I just don't think there's a possible worst case scenario than them getting 4.5 points. In fact, I think they'll be in the game. I think they'll be hosting the game, and I think they'll be the favorite. This is just not a very strong league, especially the bottom half, even the bottom 2/3. Just not a whole lot of teams that could pick them off. Fresno State, that trip to Fresno, really the only game there in the Valley, I think that's a losable type game. So I like Boise State plus 166 to win the Pac-12 championship game. Do you guys want me to go into the total, or
yes,
you want
please.
me to?
Yes, continue.
Okay, and I'm looking also at the total here. It's really low. My totals, I do use the same computation formula to some degree that they use, giving a percentage chance of a victory based on my projected point spread. And I came up at 9. And again, they're going to be on the half game, so they don't have that luxury. But I had Boise's win total at 9. Here they are at 7.5. It is heavily juiced to the under, market wide, minus 180, the best I'm seeing there at Circa. But they're going to be looking at their schedule, they're going to be getting 24.5 points in their opener at Austin Stadium against Oregon, an Oregon team that is perhaps the best team in the country. But other than that, they're going to be favored outside of an injury, likely in their other 11 games. I currently make them minus 5.5 in that big game at Fresno in October. They'll possibly be a double-digit favorite in their remaining 10 games. So Oregon's, they're an almost certain loss. But is Boise going to lose 4 other games against that schedule? I just can't imagine them going 7-5. I talked about the unique scheduling dynamic this year in the Pac-12. It's called a flex game. And what you have, the Pac-12 is unique in that it only consists of 8 teams this year. So they play the other 7 teams, and that's their 7-team conference schedule. It is very difficult in today's college football to schedule 4 non-conference games, much less 5. So what they're going to do is they've already got the games tentatively scheduled for week 12. They'll be playing another conference opponent in a non-conference game in Week 12. Boise State currently scheduled to play at Utah State, but the caveat or the catch is that the league is reserving the right to switch opponents. They're not going to switch sites. Boise will be playing on the road. There's 4 teams that will be playing on the road because they had 4 home games and just 3 road games, and there's 4 teams that will be playing at home regardless who they play. But they reserve the right to switch up the opponents based on what they perceive to be the best opportunity for the league to get a bid into the 12-team playoff. So just very, very, very unique there. They will be playing again a non-conference game against a conference team there at the end. Again, this is just a situation where I look at the schedule. They would have to lose several games as the betting favorite to fall to 7-5, even at the increased juice. I just don't see it. This is far and away the best team in the league. I think they, again, 9-3 sounds about right for me. I think that's just an average performance by this Bronco team. Clearly the best in the league. I like over 7.5 wins, minus 180 there at Circa.
Very good. I'm with you as well. So they bring the league back. You get 5 teams from the Mountain West. You add Washington State, Oregon State, and Texas State comes in. This is a great market you found at MGM. How many teams in the Pac-12 will win 6+ games? Break this down. Great prop.
Yeah, so it's how many teams will win 6 or more regular season games in the Pac-12, that being 4.5. The over is plus 130. The under is minus 170. And again, this is an 8-team league. The bottom half of this league is really weak, guys. There's no other way to put it. My predictions and pretty much the consensus market-wide is that the bottom 4 teams will be Washington State, Utah State, Colorado State, and Oregon State. So let's take a look at the non-conference schedule. I mean, the conference part of it will be pretty much a net zero, sum deal there. But the non-conference games of these teams, the bottom half teams, Washington State, they open at Washington. Then they go to Kansas State. In Week 4, they host Arizona. Utah State, they play at Washington and at Utah. In the non-conference, also play a home game versus Troy, currently projected Utah State to be a little bit under a field goal favorite, very short favorite in that game. Colorado State, they host BYU. They travel to Texas San Antonio in their opener against Wyoming, a big rivalry. Colorado State currently a 4-point favorite over the Cowboys, so they could lose that game. And then Oregon State, they play at Houston. They host Texas Tech. And they play an FCS opponent, but it happens to be the number 2 team in the preseason poll, FCS, Montana. So they're not going to have many wins there. The point spreads and the math just don't compute. They're not going to have 5 teams of the 8 win 6 games. I just don't think that's going to happen. I'll be shocked if it does. So I like the Pac-12 under 4.5 at minus 170. The less than 4.5 teams, again, will win 6 or fewer regular season games.
That is a great catch by you.
Good find.
With that. They offer so many things now, so many different markets, and I love the fact that you landed on that one. Follow him on X, at Paul Stone Sports. Dynamite analysis as always, Paul. Thanks for the time.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Talk to you next week.
Yep. Join us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Let me give you this. So I embrace change. Like, I like the idea of being progressive when it comes to just like different things, and I don't want to be stuck, 30 years, whatever. But one of the weirdest things, and I'll try to be open to this. Right now, I've got to tell you, I think it's idiotic and stupid, and I can't stand it. In Week 1, Washington plays Washington State.
Yeah,
the Apple Cup.
The Apple Cup on a Sunday right off the bat.
What is happening?
Yeah. At least we got the game, though.
At least they kept the game, but is that going to be a new thing now? Are we going to get Oregon State Week 1 as well moving forward? Some of the other rivalries that are completely shot now and not a thing? It's not great.
Why are they playing Louisville, Ole Miss, and Notre Dame, Wisconsin at the same time? That's another one.
Phenomenal question.
I don't get that.
I know.
Notre Dame, that's marquee. That's from Lambeau.
That should be a back-to-back in the window there. One right into the next.
Big news in the NFL coming up next.
Oh, boy.
You won't believe what just happened. from a contract standpoint. How about that?
That's very good. And all tickets cash the same. Some winners feel better than others. Some losers hurt much more. As we roll on here, it's Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either. Because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself and Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.